Hey guys, and welcome back to our channel, Sister Sisters. So today the discussion is bad hospital visits, specifically how the hospital nearly tried to kill me. So this all started on a regular day.
Yes.
I woke up with severe stomach pain.
This was in 2005.
Yeah, this was 2005. What was I? I was in 7th grade.
6th or 7th.
Yeah, I think it was 6th grade.
Because I was in high school.
Yeah. So it started as I had severe abdominal pain.
Yeah.
I couldn't stop throwing up, and I was not able to go to the bathroom whatsoever. So after throwing up about 20 times, decided it was probably time to go to the hospital.
And I felt so bad because I yelled at her for hours for screaming in pain. And I've had a bowel obstruction now, and I know how painful it was. I was such a...
Yeah. She sat there and was like, "Shut up!" as I'm hunched over wailing in pain, not realizing it's the most excruciating pain in the world. But anyways, so my mom drove me to Bay State, and
this is a local hospital near where we live. We do not go there anymore.
Yeah, after years of bad experiences, I mean, I go out of my way now, and I travel to Boston, which for me is 2 hours away.
And I go to Hartford.
Yeah. So, get to Bay State, and it all started with, well, we got to figure out what's wrong. So they did multiple tests, x-rays, ultrasounds, all that kind of stuff. So then the first thing that they had to do was give me a nasal gastro tube.
It's so bad.
Yeah.
If you've never had one, oh.
It's horrible. And not realizing, I'm a younger kid. I mean, I have a high pain tolerance, but
I think we do.
The lady was just such an asshole. I can't just put it in any other word. She was an asshole. So basically, it's a tube that they thread through your nose, down into your throat, into your stomach, just to kind of get all of that.
And they do it, they thread it down while you're drinking water.
Yeah.
So it kind of feels like you're choking.
Yeah, it's horrible. But it's a way to basically get all that stomach bile out that's infected. I don't know. I'm not a doctor.
And it just sucks it off into a little container.
Yeah. I'm not a doctor. I'm just assuming that's what it is. And with a bowel obstruction, you cannot eat or drink until the problem is resolved and you start going to the bathroom again.
Yeah.
So, yeah, going forward, so I had this procedure done, and of course I'm screaming and crying, and I'm doing my very best to be brave and to just let this lady do it. And she just is just threading it, and she's like, "All right, you gotta sit still," and just had no empathy for me whatsoever. It was the worst pain ever.
She was a bitch.
She was an asshole. And they realized very soon after all the tests that it was an obstruction and that they were going to have to do surgery right away. So right after that, they had me on a lot of pain medication. It was specifically morphine through the IV, which I don't handle narcotics very well at all. I get very paranoid, and I was kind of losing it a little bit. So for some reason, I had it in my head that my doctors told me I could take my NG tube out.
I can't believe she did this.
Yeah, so here I am.
She had some balls. I just had this obstruction last year. I would never have attempted this.
No. So here I am. I'm like 12 years old, and I got up in my bed. I was like, oh, no, the doctor said I could take it out. I remember him saying it. So I just start helping myself and pulling it out. And then my poor mom, sweet little Sue, laying in the chair, just jumps right up and is like, "What are you doing?" I'm like, "The doctor said I could take it out." She's like, "Oh, honey, no." Because she knew the pain that I was going to have to endure yet again. But luckily, the next day when they had to redo it was a very sweet nurse. She picked the thinnest tube she possibly could and was very gentle, and it was fine, all worth it in the end. But moving forward, so I had the abdominal surgery, and sorry, phone's going off. I had the abdominal surgery, and everything went well. I remember I was laying in my bed, and I remember my brother and sister came over to me, and my brother handed me a cross that our grandfather had given us.
Really?
I remember. Yeah, I remember it, and I was holding it in my hand, and they all were. I could just tell they both were really worried because
I have never seen her that sick ever. I remember just coming into the hospital room, and she was so out of it, and I just remember having a big hat on and just pulling it down and crying.
Yeah. And just being the youngest, I'm like the baby of the family, so I could tell everyone was really nervous.
Plus, this was the first time that we really dealt with something like that.
Yeah, this was the first, like, big CF thing, so to speak. And so they brought me into the operating room, had the surgery done, everything went well. The surgeon was excellent. That was all great. So after that, what's crucial with CF is after you have surgery, you need to start getting up and walking.
Right.
Because with anyone, but especially with CF, if you're laying down, all your mucus is just sitting there.
Nothing's moving.
Nothing's moving. You're going to get pneumonia, collapsed lung, whatever. So I had the nurse that I call the kiss of death.
We all call her that.
She was the Grim Reaper, if you will.
Do we remember her name? No.
We don't, but... they just kept doping me up on morphine.
Well, I think what you had was a spinal in the back.
Yeah, I had an epidural in my back, obviously, for the pain, but I do remember...
Why was it an epidural?
I think it was. It was a needle in my back, I'm assuming.
I think spinals are like that, too. We're not doctors.
Not doctors, but...
This was many years ago.
Yeah. So my epidural had fallen out of my back. The reason I knew this is because out of nowhere, like, the pain after surgery was so intense. It was like, where's my medicine? It's not helping anymore. And my mom lifts me up just like this and feels my pillow.
Soaked in morphine.
Soaked in morphine. So that was all great. And then the nurse that came in, she thought it was best if I laid down, if I rested, if I didn't get up at all.
No breathing treatments.
No breathing treatments. Like, I'm talking days went by, and I really don't remember very much. I was so heavily medicated on this. I was just saying things that didn't make any sense. I was seeing things that weren't there. That I don't ever forget.
She thought she was eating pork chops.
I was so hungry
rice.
and so...
She was literally cutting it while she was doped up.
Yeah.
She was so hungry.
I was that hungry, but in my head, I was envisioning Mom's best meal, just, our favorite kid meal. Pork chops, rice, and corn. And I'm just sitting there, like, half awake, just cutting up my food and eating it. And I was just hallucinating, and it was a mess. So this woman just kept saying, no, she needs to rest. My parents were there the whole time, and...
Yeah, one parent was there, at least one of our parents were...
My mom never left my side. My dad visited every day because my dad was working. So my mom and my dad were finally like, okay, her lips are starting to get blue. Her stats are dropping, and they couldn't wake me up. And the lady was like, just rest, just lay down. So finally, my dad had enough of the bullshit of them just ignoring that I was getting worse.
My dad ran out in the hall and was like, someone get in this fucking room now. There's something wrong with her.
Yeah, because I was just progressively getting worse, and my mom and dad were, like, fighting every day. They're like, do something. But my dad finally had enough.
I mean, we couldn't wake her up.
Yeah. And I do remember them saying that to me, and so my dad finally called. She was my direct doctor, part of my CF team at Bay State. She would not answer any of Dad's calls or anything, and I remember Dad literally freaked out at the front desk, and he's like, she better answer my fucking calls. My daughter, her lips are blue. Like, my dad was freaking out.
So we finally got a nurse into her room.
Yeah.
And took her stats, and what was your oxygen?
My oxygen was like 33.
Okay.
Yeah. So had my dad not lost his shit on these people who should have been doing their job, I just would have died in my sleep. I just was slowly just fading.
Yeah.
And all I remember is I just woke up in ICU around like 12 doctors who just ripped open the curtains. They're like, get the lights on, and they're drawing all these labs. And ever since that visit, well, all said and done, I was probably there about 10 days.
Yeah, it was a very long visit.
Yeah. Maybe even 14 days, but I couldn't eat or drink for 10 days. All I was allowed to have was ice chips, or my mom could sponge my tongue, which of course I would just suck all of the water out. It was horrible. And just my siblings, how hard it was for them. I mean, we were all pretty young still. Like, it was
very traumatic.
It was scary. But ever since that experience...
But you have to tell them you did develop...
Oh, well, yeah, because of that.
Yeah.
So because my stats were so low... I had a collapsed lung. I had gotten double pneumonia. And
this was going unnoticed in a hospital.
Yeah.
Someone that just had surgery. This is going unnoticed.
Yeah. Just someone with CF, like, oh, she had abdominal surgery. She hasn't gotten up to walk at all. She's not eating. She's not even awake. There's been no treatments. It was bullshit.
Yeah.
So, I'm up in ICU. I'm still hallucinating a lot, but at least the care is a little bit better because I'm in a more important area.
You have to be, yeah.
But, yeah. Hey, guys, sorry about that. We ran out of space, so this is just part 2, I guess, of the video. Just continuing where we left off. So, anyways... So I'm in the ICU, and they're starting to do all these treatments and everything, trying to get me back on track to where I was or needed to be. So all said and done, though, after that, after having double pneumonia and a collapsed lung, I had scar tissue and damage in my lungs that was never going to be repaired after that.
Yeah.
So basically, I mean, that's kind of the end of the story. I mean, afterwards, I mean, I was eventually brought back down to the regular floor, and eventually I was discharged. Everything was resolved.
Did Mom and Dad make a complaint about the nurse?
Yes, I know for a fact they did.
Yeah.
But yeah, all said and done, I mean, it was a terrible visit. And because of that one hospitalization, I mean, I was very fortunate to where my whole life with my CF was pretty mild. Like, my lungs were never an issue. They have suffered ever since because of that.
Permanent damage.
Yeah, permanent damage and scar tissue that will never be repaired, all because of the stupidity of these nurses.
In the hospital. They have no excuse.
Yeah. So, you know, wanted to share this experience just because I'm sure there's many of you CFers out there who have gone through this where you've had shitty hospital care.
Yeah, the only thing I can say that happened was I was at a surgery and a nurse came in to give me insulin, and I'm not diabetic. So she could have just killed me. That would have been about it.
And you know what? And I know people who work at
same hospital where she almost died.
Yeah. And I know people who work at Bay State, and I'm not saying everyone there is terrible by any means. Like, I have friends that work there who truly care and are great people. Like, you guys are all awesome. I'm just saying those who strictly just don't give a shit at all about anybody.
And this was just our experiences. So.
Yeah, this is just our experiences. But, you know, one thing we will say, who is the number one doctor that we always had? That is Dr. Francis Duda.
A.K.A. Do the right thing.
He is, and I just want to end this video with giving some recognition to Dr. Duda because this is his story. I'm not going to, you know, go into it just for his...
People should know that.
Yes, but people should know this. It's been on the news. So he was basically forced to leave Bay State against his will, not to say bye to his patients or anything.
Was it 20 plus years or 30 plus years of working?
I feel like it probably was 30 plus.
Okay.
We'll have to ask his wife again, who I love, Lori Duda. She's the best.
Yeah.
So he was forced to leave, and he had been with us since we were children.
And he was forced to leave because he has
cerebral palsy.
Yeah. And it was obviously progressing.
Yeah, and they treated him like he was an inconvenience when that man was so sweet, and I'm talking...
And he was dedicated to his patients, unlike any of the other doctors there.
He was amazing. Like, I'm talking, even on his days off, he would always call, say, how are you guys doing? If we were in the hospital, on his days off, he would be walking down the halls with his cane, struggling to walk, just to come sit with us and be like, how are you doing?
And they actually just won their lawsuit.
Yeah, but they're still getting a lot of shit from it. But bottom line is, I mean, it's been a hospital that has just truly left a bad taste in all of our mouths. And he literally was like our CF guardian angel. He was the most wonderful doctor.
And I think
ever.
a lot of his patients felt that way. And after that happened, most patients left the clinic.
Yeah, it came to the point where it's like, okay, stay here because it's close and convenient, and you're going to die a lot sooner.
Right.
It's going to change the quality of my life, or I can drive further, but I'm going to have a better quality of life.
Right. So we just want to make sure we give that shout out to Do the Right Thing.
Yeah, because he was amazing, and we would not be here because of him. He is the most wonderful doctor. Like, he will always be number one.
Yeah.
And him and his family always have a special place in our hearts.
Yeah.
But these are the kinds of things that happen, and
And sorry for this video being long, but I mean, we like to give details of
and this is a big story, and I want to leave you guys with this note of, if you're going to a place who is not giving you the care that you deserve,
you need to be proactive.
You need to be your own advocate.
Yes.
You need to speak up because your life matters.
And it doesn't matter if you're a pain in the ass.
Yeah, be a pain in the ass, because at the end of the day, these people...
It's your life.
Yeah, and I'm saying, a lot of them are great, but these people, at the end of the day, go home, and that's that. But this is your life. This is not their life. So just remember, speak up for yourself, because you guys all matter.
So I hope you found this story kind of interesting. Sorry, again, it was a little bit long, but
yes,
please like and subscribe to our channel.
And follow.
All right, see you next week.
Bye.
Peace.